Welcome back to episode 34,009 of the RECRAP, the half-assed reaction podcast after every Bears game. And we did Cub playoff games too, which was fun. This is coming after the Bears' biggest win of the season. It counts the same as one, but their biggest win of the season is over the defending Super Bowl champions, the Philadelphia Eagles, on Black Friday. And we got to get through the sponsors here quick, but man, how much do Eagle fans suck? Their team was 8-3 coming to the game. They're in first place. They won the Super Bowl last year, and they're getting booed at it for everything. It's like that seems to be their identity, right? No, we're just always pissed. Fun. Well, I was going to say they don't deserve to have the best team in the NFL, but they don't. No, it's the Bears. So we get to act like immature assholes, which we've been doing forever. It's our turn. Anyway, let's get to the sponsor. I know it's your favorite part of the recap. Many of you may ask, how come we don't do sponsorships for the regular podcast? And the reason is, I don't know. This seemed funny when I first did it. And now I'm kind of stuck with it. But I do think they're pretty good. Today we are sponsored by your Chicagoland Buick dealers. Has anybody bought a Buick in the last 15 years? Anyway, I'm sure they have. Here we go. Take it away, guys.
Hey, that sweetness doing laps. You mean Walter or the car?
Your Chicagoland Buick dealer has a sweet deal for you. A free Landau or vinyl roof or a free two-tone custom paint treatment on either the 1981 Buick Century or Regal when it's equipped with tinted glass, sport mirrors, white walls, and chrome wheels. Now, what's sweeter than that?
There's nothing sweeter than something that's free.
Your Buick dealers are talking your language right now.
There's a lot to unpack there with Walters and James Scott and Dennis Lick's Buick commercial. First of all, if you're not familiar with James Scott's work, he is the 14th all-time leading receiver in Bears history. I had to look it up, and I'm like, oh, God, I'll bet he's in the top 20. And he was. He's 14th. In 38 games with the Bears in his career. Is that right? That seems like he played more games than that. He did. 71 games with the Bears. 3,202 receiving yards. That's good for 14th. If you want to know how prestigious this list is, and Mike Donahue and I have been through it many times. I don't remember this crap. DJ Moore, who's been with the Bears since 2023, is already 20th on the all-time receiving list. And Roma Dunze is getting pretty close to cracking the top 50 already. And he's been around for a season and a half. So, there are some doozies. Nice to see Dennis Lick, whose only role in the commercial seemed to be to try to shove Walter into the Buick at the end. That seemed odd. I do think the commercial is funny. Walter doing laps, and he's just driving. For those of you who couldn't see it, it's Walter in a Buick driving around the track at a high school field while James Scott is on the blocking sled, and Dennis Lick is trying to push him around. It was very well thought out. And you could get quite a deal. If you bought a Buick in, what year was this? 1980. If you bought a 1980 or 81 Buick, I don't know what month that was. The sweatpants. Those are really, anyway. You could get you had your choice of, it sounds like three things. You could get a Landau roof, not John Landau, the Bruce Springsteen's producer, different guy. Or Martin Landau, the actor, from many, many things, including Ed Wood, which he was tremendous. Or a leather roof. Mm-hmm. Well, real leather would be great, wouldn't it, to have on the roof of your car? It's vinyl that they made it kind of look like it. And I'm trying to remember, maybe one of you remembers this. I think the Landau roof was like kind of the receding hairline version of the leather, in quotes, roof, where it was like the first 2/3 of your roof was just regular sheet metal. and then there was like a little, this little strip of leather at the back, or you go leather, or you could get a custom two-tone paint job. Typically, when a Buick had a two-tone paint job, it was because there'd been an accident, and when they repainted the car after the new paint didn't match the old paint. That was pretty much how you got a two-tone Buick back in 1980. But anyway, really good stuff. So thank you to the Chicagoland Buick dealers, and head on out. Actually, I do know someone who bought a Buick. My mom still drives a Buick. She has, I think, the Lucerne or the LaCrosse. I don't know which one it is. But she's very upset because she wants a new car, and Buick doesn't make cars anymore. They only sell SUVs. She doesn't want to drive one of those. She's 86. We probably should be limiting her to driving a golf cart around a retirement village. But she's still legal. She can still legally drive. So she just honks the whole time, so you know she's coming. So you're safe. Her dad, my grandpa on her side, he drove with both feet on the pedals. So what I mean by that was, it was, he had an automatic. He, obviously learned how to drive with a clutch, but didn't know what to do with his other foot when he had an automatic. So he would put his left foot on the brake very lightly. But he couldn't understand how he wore brakes out all the time. It's like, well, you're constantly putting some kind of pressure on, and he would, he'd come out to the house and he'd drive away. And my dad, that was his father-in-law, he would look at his father-in-law driving down the road and goes, look, his brake lights never go off. He's always eventually stopping. So there you go. This also brought to you by the Pat Benkowski Sports Spectacular. Once again, Pat on assignment, unable to join us. He wanted to, especially after the big win. And it's brought to you by 2 books that you can buy on Amazon right now. And today we're recording this on Black Friday. I'm sure there's a Black Friday sale. There's not, but full price is good too. Great Until It Wasn't, about the 2003-2004 Chicago Cubs. The Immortals, about the 2016 Chicago Cubs. And when you buy your books, some of you are already taking me up on this, send me an email. Go to disappear.com/books. It explains what a book plate is. Tell me if you bought 1 or 2 books, and I will send you 1 or 2 free autographed book plates so that you can. I'm sure you probably want to put it in a safety deposit box and add it to the will, because your kids and their grandkids are going to be like, "Oh, I got the Dolan books. Holy shit, I am rich now." So there you go. I got to tell you, this game, what I was really hoping for was simply that the Bears were competitive in this one. And honestly, for most of the game, but especially they just kicked the shit out of the Eagles. It was tremendous. Yeah, I mean, for all of the people out there, I guess maybe I was one of them, but I was still happy with how things were going. But I was like, I don't know that I think they're ahead of schedule. I don't think they're, this was a real message that, no, we're good now. So you're just going to have to fucking deal with it, because we're good. And we gave you 40 years to get used to us not being good. And I hope you took advantage of it, because that shit's over now. So it was very nice. This was the both DeAndre Swift and Kyle Manungai both ran for over 100 yards. It is the first time that has happened for the Bears in those same 40 years. So the last time this happened was November 10th, 1985. Bears-Lions at beautiful Soldiers Field. And of course, it's interesting. The 2 running backs the 2 players, it didn't have to be running backs, but was, who rushed for 100 yards were one guy, well, you've heard of both of them, obviously. One of you would obviously expect Walter Payton. The other was Matt Suhey, the fullback. He had 100 yards. The interesting thing, the Bears rushed for 3 touchdowns in a 24-3 win over Darrell Rogers' mighty Lions. The Bears went to 10-0. The Lions were 5-5. Bears rushed for 3 touchdowns. How many do you think Walter Payton and Matt Suhey combined to run for? 3? None. The touchdowns were scored by Steve Fuller, the quarterback, filling in for Jim McMahon as he often had to do. He ran for 2 touchdowns, and Calvin Thomas ran for 7. The Bears ran the ball 55 times for 250 yards and 3 touchdowns. They threw 13 passes, 13 more than they had to. They were 7 for 13 for 112 yards passing, 55, 250, and 3 touchdowns. The Lions, not quite as good. They ran 22 times for 68 yards, and they were 8 for 17 for 73 yards and 2 interceptions. And they were only sacked 4 times, which against the 85 Bears meant that defense was bored, basically. Bears who rushed for yards that day include Steve Fuller, 5 for 11. Walter Payton, 26 for 107, long of 19. Matsui, 16 for 102, long of 17. Dennis Gentry, Pinky, 2 for 13. Calvin Thomas, 4 for 13 and a touchdown. Willie Gault, 1 for 11. Tim Reitman, no, he's only on there because he caught a pass. Ken Marjoram, 1 for -7. And I looked it up, and they ran an end around and lost 7 yards. So there you go. But we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about the exciting Bears win over the Eagles, in which the Bears did similar things to the, let's say it again, to the defending Super Bowl champions. Bears, 28 first downs, you get to 14 for the Eagles. Bears passed for 10, rushed for 17, got 1 on a penalty. Bears were 10 of 17 on 3rd down. It's pretty good. They were 1 of 3 on 4th down. They were 2 for 3, but the great Nick Sirianni challenged a call, and that never works, right? When somebody challenges a spot, but in this case, it worked because the Bears had to get to the 29, and Monangai got tackled right at the hash mark, and you could see the ball go down just before the 29. So they actually had like what's the word I'm looking for? They had like a I don't know. They had proof. That's what they had. So excited about the win, I can't think. And the other one they picked up was a great play. 4th and 5 that Caleb threw a nice pass to Colston Loveland. The Eagles were 4 of 12 on 3rd down, including one of them. They did the old tush push. Not only did they get stuffed, Nashawn Wright just stole the ball from Jalen Hurts. That was a big play. The Bears went on a long touchdown drive after that. So that was point. Eagles were about to score, didn't. The Bears did. It kind of turned the game. The Eagles got some passing yards at the end on the last drive, the touchdown drive. And the Bears were playing their prevent defense. Basically, take as much time as you want. Just, you got to score 3 times now. Well, I guess 2 touchdowns, but right? What was it? Yeah, 3 times. It was 24-9. Well, that's 15. They could have done it. Went for 2, scored the touchdown, went for 2, didn't get it. Very much confused Al Michaels and Kirk Herbstreit. It doesn't take much to confuse Al and Kirk. We're like, why would they do that? It's like, well, because now they know if they need to score once or twice. The only reason you're bummed is that it basically ruined the end of your TV broadcast because it's over. The Bears are up by 9, and even the Bears aren't going to blow that, and they didn't. Just looking real quick. Bears 4 penalties for 35 yards. For them, that's none. One of them was a hold on Darnell Wright, and he just kept chewing out somebody. I forget who it was. Like it was his fault, but on the replay, it looked like Darnell started to block out, had to come in and had to just grab a guy to keep him from squishing Caleb. Oh, I'm sure Mike Sando was already hard at work over the Athletic with his column about, okay, this is why Caleb sucks this week. because he always find an anonymous source to tell you why he's bad. The new thing. First, it was doesn't play on time enough. Well, I guess it's the same thing. He wrote a whole article about how the Bears' success is unsustainable because their quarterback holds the ball too long. And I don't. Sam Fells on Blue Sky had the same question I did. Why is this? Who gives a shit about this stat? Right? Like, it's usually a symptom of other things, and that's one of the things that shows, like, this quarterback holds the ball too long, and they get sacked a lot, or they don't get any big plays, or he won't throw the ball to the middle of the field, like Justin wouldn't, and that kind of stuff. But it's not really there. It seems that they discount all of the times that he gets away from the initial rush and buys more time, which takes more time. Hence the more time part of buying more time. I don't know. It feels, at this point, it feels lazy and dumb, really, to just keep harping on this, because the offense clearly works this way. And maybe it wasn't originally designed. I know it wasn't originally designed to work this way, but it does. Maybe next year, there'll be a bigger emphasis to do less of that. But they're not struggling to score points. They're not struggling to win games. And I guess that was probably the point. Like, oh, it's not going to last. Well, this blew a big fucking hole in the side of that argument when, you play the Eagles, who all we heard was that was a real wake up call when they blew the 21-point lead to the Cowboys. Are going to take it out on the Bears. It's an interesting way to take it out on the Bears, to get your ass whipped in front of your home fans. But, well, let's take a quick look here at so Caleb, 17 of 36. Which is not good, below 50%. 154 yards, average 4.3 yards an attempt. It's funny, Ben Johnson looked at the stat sheet before he did the thing. He's like, 36 times. We threw the ball way too many times for the way the game went. Ran the ball 47 times. There were plenty of run plays. Don't worry about it. Caleb got sacked twice, which, is that highest season high? I think he's up to 18 for the season. Last year it was like 1,000. That's pretty good. Maligned got 22 carries, 130 yards. Almost 6 yards a carry, 5.9. DeAndre, 18 for 125, almost 7 yards a carry. That's pretty good. Both scored a touchdown. Cole Kmet led them in receiving, 3 catches for 36 yards. That's a very Ditka era leading receiver in a win. In a loss, it's every other Bear coach ever. But so I watched the game using the Prime Video thing, or not? What's it called? Prime Shit. Prime Shit. That's what they call it. Oh, what's it called? Prime Vision. That's what it's called. And they basically use the all 22 the whole game, and they do these. They put little cute little graphics on the players. You can tell who the players are, and if they think a guy's going to blitz, a little circle around him turns red. It's very video game-ish, but it's a cool way to watch the game because you see the whole field all the time. And I say this a lot about I always watch the college football playoff games with this. ESPN does a Skycam broadcast, and it's the same kind of idea. That one, though, the cool thing about that is there's no announcers. You just hear the PA. I love that. That's the best part because I don't have to listen to Chris Fowler fuck up every big game he ever announces. But you still heard Alan Kirk, which is fine. But I will say this about the college football games. I don't know how anybody ever completes a pass. It's when you watch it, you're like, oh. A lot of the run plays, it was pretty impressive to see it that way. A lot of the cutbacks, you could literally, as either Monangai or Swift was starting their initial cut, you could see from behind, you could literally see the wall get set up that they were going to then cut back and run behind. I'm sure people watching it the conventional way felt like the Bears were beating the shit out of them in the first half, but you really got that feeling. But on both sides of the ball, the Bears were moving the Eagles, which was pretty cool to see. On Caleb's touchdown pass, that was also impressive. So they little bootleg action, he rolled to the left. And he said after the game that the first option is kind of a quick pass to DeAndre, who's kind of coming out in the flat in front of him. But when you watched it from behind, it was clear on that play that Caleb could have run for like 7 or 8 yards, or he could have thrown to Swift for probably the same amount. And he saw the safety come down to overreact to the short pass and the run possibility, and he just flipped it to Cole. That was a really nice pass. You could also tell from behind on both teams that when they were heading in the direction that the Bears went in the second and third quarters, right? The Bears took the ball at the beginning of the game so that they could pick the wind in the second half. So they had the win in the fourth quarter. But whenever they were going into the wind, either team, for whatever reason, when either Hurts or Caleb tried to throw to the right, the ball, you could literally see the ball like drift towards the sidelines. Like that, you could tell the wind, even, and Caleb throws the ball hard, and it was still kind of going that way. And it looked like on a play, he had DJ open, and it looked like he was trying to be like a kicker. He's trying to like use the wind. He threw to more of like the hash mark side of figuring the ball was going to get blown. It didn't work, but it looked very much like he's like, okay, I'm just gonna throw it here, and then it'll end up over there, and it didn't. But I mean, how about the fact that the Bears they're the leading rushing team in the NFL since week 6. They're pretty close since week 4, right? They had the bye after. What were they at the bye? 2-2. So after the 5th week, but like everything changed in like week 3 after the Lions beat the shit out of them. Everything improved. But since week 6, they are, I guess that would be their first game back after the bye. They are easily leading the league in rushing. They ran as a team for, I just had it up and I lost it. 281 yards. That's not the most they run for this year. They have a 293-yard game. They are winners of 9 of 10. Oh my God. And it's funny. Al said this, which was funny, and it was true, this was like a breather compared to the other games. This one was over. I mean, even I know the Eagles had the ball back, but they were going to have to score twice, and it wasn't going to happen. So this one you can actually like sit back at the end and be like, "Hey, we won this one." And when the Eagles went for 2 and didn't make it, then that was it blew. Yeah, well, I said that it blew their mind because it ruined the TV. There was no drama at the end. That's why they were mad. When the Eagles didn't make that, it was over. And you're like, "Holy shit, the Bears won." So it was very cool. Defensively, they got like a Jaylon Johnson and Kyler Gordon back, and they were rotating them in and out, which makes sense. Jaylon hasn't played any kind of football game since January against the Packers. That's a long time. And Kyler is coming back they're both coming back from injuries, so they're a little limited there anyway. Because just because you're healthy enough to play doesn't mean you're 100%. If you waited at 100%, we'd never get to play anything. But it's really nice on the downs when they have, and it'll be better. They didn't have Tyreek again. So when they get Tyreek, well, I say when, but this is the Bears. Somebody will get hurt again. But if they ever get to the point where they actually have Kyler, Jaylon, Tyreek, and CJ, Chauncey, Gardner, Johnson, the third, whatever it is, all healthy at the same time, and Deshaun Wright, that's pretty good. Well, we need linebackers. I mean, I know Kirk has a million jobs, and he has to remember like every college football coach's name and a bunch of players' names and all that stuff. But I mean, there is no name more fun to say than Amen Ogbongbemiga, and he didn't say it right. He butchered it twice. Ogbongbemiga. It's got bong in the middle of it, and it's got Amiga. Wasn't that a video game console? And then wasn't Amigo? Wasn't that like a half-ass SUV? Remember that? I don't know. I mean, it's friend, right? It's a fun name to say. You would have thought that an announcer would be all excited to say it. I mean, Al was probably, took his pants off and set it into the mirror for an hour this morning at the hotel. So the Bears play the Packers twice the next 3 weeks now. And they really should just beat the shit out of them both times and then put all this stuff to rest. That would be very fun. There were all the Packer fans like, they won yesterday. Like, we're going to be in first place tomorrow. Well, you're not. You're still in second place. You might want to get used to it for a while until you start finishing seasons in third place. I'm sure by now you have seen, because I didn't get to this right away. So by now you've seen the coach, Ben Johnson, doing the post game where he gave the game balls out. Dan Bernstein can be very happy now because Nashawn Wright finally got a game ball. He was so mad he didn't get it because they gave one to Kevin Warren when they beat the Vikings, even though they give two, and they basically gave Kevin a fake third one. Like, here you go. You used to work here. Congratulations. And they gave it to the offensive line. And then Ben came out and did, his good, better, best thing and kicked it up a notch, took his shirt off. Not sure we needed that, but he's in good shape, and he clearly shaved his chest to get ready. It is one of those things where, like, it's going to get old, the good, better, best thing, in 20 years, maybe. Just keep doing it. We don't care. Sorry, I was watching it. Just watch me cough. Just fun. I should turn my head when I do that. I know the Eagles they're disarray. The fans were booing and chanting "Fire Sirianni" in like the second quarter. It's like, oh, we get it. We get your act. It's hilarious. But I was really surprised at how easily the Bears handled the Eagles' offense, because the Bears' defense is still operating even with the reinforcements in the secondary, which are very, very timely and needed. They're playing without any linebackers, and they're just still handling it. And there was some weird stuff happening. Saquon on I think it was the drive where they finally scored to try to make a game of it at the end, but they threw a little swing pass to him, and I could tell on the Prime Vision that you could see there's nobody there. He's 20 yards for any bear even approaches him, and he just drops it, just right between his legs. Also, I think Devontae Smith is a really good player, but the Bears kept getting away with letting linebackers and safeties cover him, and the Eagles has never really made him pay. It was weird. It was evident on the play where Ogbongbemiga knocked the ball away from him, and Terry McCauley was like, "That's interference." That ball was thrown short, and Smith had to try to come back for the ball, and he had actually initiated the contact with Amen. So it's not pass interference. No wonder you're a former ref. You suck. You don't even know the rules, man. So I forget the name of the guy. He's got a lot of name going on. There's a guy who I think used to play at Stanford. Vision football. Sam Schwartzstein. He played at Stanford. What did he play? He's an offensive lineman. And he he explains some of the analytics, and you never need him. Like when they have a little like doo-doo-doo, little like mute sound effect to let you know that he's about to speak, and you just don't need it. But he very awkwardly said, "I played against Vic Fangio in college." First, it's like, I don't think you're old enough to play with it, but and then you expected it, like, okay, what team was Vic coordinating that you were going up against? No, they were both at Stanford at the same time. He's talking about practice. It's an odd way to say it, really. But yeah, we could do without Sam Schwartzstein. We don't really need him. He was the director of football operations for the XFL starting in 2020. So that's quite a resume Sam's got. He's from Southlake, Texas, and his father formerly owned a tire dealership. Tire dealership? I guess you could be a tire dealer. Really? Nah, it doesn't seem right. But I do like the Prime Video thing. It shows a lot of cool stuff, and it's a really nice way to see a game. And then I can cheat because I can just put the regular broadcast on the other TV with sound down, and then I can look over once in a while if I like want to see. But they really, it's easy to follow it that way, and most of the replays they show on the conventional broadcast are from that are from that. So you don't need to. So there you go. There's my pro tip. If I was nice, I would have posted that minutes. I thought about it minutes in the game, but my phone was like, it was almost out of arm's reach. It seemed like a lot of effort, so I didn't make that effort. We have Bears 425 total yards to 317 for the Eagles. And time of possession was almost 2-1. 39 minutes and 18 seconds for the Bears. 20-42 for the Eagles. Caleb threw an interception, and it was not a good pass. It was on screenplay. It was not a good pass. But I have a hunch Ozzie Trapillo is going to get his ass chewed when they review the film, because it's clearly a screenplay. And I would guess conventional blocking on a screen pass for a tackle was he was supposed to hit the defensive lineman and then let him get the pressure on Caleb so he could throw it. Ozzie just kept blocking him. And so the guy was way too close to Swift. It's like being blocked. He looks up and there's the ball and he just catches the ball. It's like, yeah, Ozzie, he's not supposed to be there. But at the same thing, Caleb doesn't need to throw it, to the guy. You should be able to see that and go, oh, there's a guy there. Well, I'll just throw it anyway. Hurts threw a pick to Kevin Byard. It was his only second interception thrown of the entire season. I still don't think Jalen Hurts is good. I know he won a Super Bowl and he played really well in the other one, in the two he's played in, but He doesn't have Tua to bail him out in big games anymore, like he did at Alabama. I have a feeling he doesn't, he doesn't worry about that. It's funny to see. I was looking at the tackles because last week, it was Ogbongbemiga had 15 and DeMarco Jackson had 14 and all this. And he looked at this time, it's like nobody had more than 6. Well, it's because they played like a third of the plays that they had to be on the field against the Steelers for last week. So yeah, the numbers are down. Lots of tackles from the Eagles because there were a lot of plays in that game. I was very interested to see how Jaylon would look given that time. I thought he looked good. I forget, they showed a replay. That was another Terry McAulay one. Oh, it's probably interference. Like, shut up. It's not interference. Savvy move by Jaylon, I thought. Eagles wore their black jerseys. Jaylon, black gloves. You can get a little grabby when it's the same color as the jersey, and the refs can't tell. Very smart. That's the opposite of A.J. Brown wearing the bright red shoes and then immediately false starting on like their second play of the game. Basically looks like the witch with her feet sticking out from under the house in the Wizard of Oz. Like everybody can see your feet, AJ. Boy, here's a news. He's really good though. The touchdown pass he caught. I just assumed Nashawn was going to knock it away, and he just kind of like, he just was there. His hands were there, and that ball was not going to get knocked out of them. It was pretty good. I did think though that the Eagles on one of their last drives, it was on the very last one, they didn't score. But he caught a pass over the middle, a diving pass over the middle. I don't think he caught it. The Eagles got there extra fast. Got to the line extra fast for the next play, and they got it off before Ben could decide. I don't know if at that point you're going to challenge it or not. You just wait. You're just excited. You're ready to go, so you can take your shirt off in the locker room and rub bare chests with your players. I don't know. A lot was made. They talked about it on the Prime post game, and I'm sure they talked about. Oh, I know. I don't know if Caleb got asked in the post game. I don't remember if I watched it. I saw part of it. But they were saying, and this was funny, they were saying exactly a year ago you fired Matt Eberflus. Well, no, I mean, it was like Friday, but Thanksgiving is not like Christmas. It's not on the same day. So the day after is not the same day. But I knew what they meant. And they're like, an all-time low in franchise history. I'm like, I don't remember the Matt Eberflus thing being an all-time low. I remember it being like, thank fucking God that they actually did it. Excuse me. Too much turkey yesterday. But it's pretty amazing how things have changed. If you're like me, and I hope you are, at Thanksgiving, we all in our family, we have people of varying like levels of football awareness. And somebody at the Thanksgiving thing was like, well, Caleb has the second lowest completion percentage in the league, so clearly he's not very good. It's like, yeah, okay, fine. You're right. You got me. You don't watch any games, apparently. There's a lot of that. But there was a lot at our Thanksgiving of, well, the Bears are going to be lucky to be winning. These are Bear fans. This is the defeatist Bear fan shit that annoys me. Well, they're not really that good. They're not gonna. It's like they only keep winning these games. The NFL is designed for every game to be close. So if you have a good coach and you have a smart quarterback who makes plays at the end of games, you're going to win games. Doesn't mean you're not going to win these games. And I was just profoundly impressive to see what they did today. And I know the Packers played well on Thanksgiving. I don't know. It's hard to tell how far the Lions have fallen since week 2. I guess we'll find out the final game of the season, Bears-Lions, which there's probably a decent, given the schedules and everything else, there's probably a decent chance that might be like the Sunday night game on NBC because one team's going to playoffs and one's not. I don't know. But I guess then we'll find out by then how they are. I know it's seeing Dan Campbell on the sidelines with the play sheet gives me very Ditka vibes, and not good Ditka vibes, like mid to late era Ditka vibes, where from Ed Hughes to Greg Landry, mostly Greg Landry, I think, the Bears offense would struggle and he would just go rip the play sheet out of their hands during the game with the cameras on, start calling plays. And similarly, Dan Campbell and Mike Ditka, never offensive coordinators. So are we really qualified to be doing this? No, but we're the boss. We can do whatever we want. The Bears coach is qualified. He gets to call the play. I thought their first 2 drives, they didn't score on the first drive. That was when they went for it and they got it, but then they didn't get it after the review, and then they scored on the next one. And I mean, they just looked really good. Like, had their shit together, and the plays were very clearly designed. They were getting what they thought they were going to get. And I think Vic's one of my all-time favorite Bear coaches. I think he's really good. And he didn't have an answer today. They could not stop the run. It felt like one of those things like, okay, the Bears are running early. Now the Eagles are going to have to sell out to stop the run. They'll stop this stuff. They're going to make Caleb beat them on a day when it's really windy and it's hard to throw. And they just couldn't. They could not. And they have really good interior linemen, especially Jaylon Carter, who some Bear fans are still like, I can't believe we took Darnell Wright instead of Jaylon Carter. And we don't need to get into the whole thing about the first pick of the new regime could not have been the guy from Georgia who had the maturity of an 8-year-old, very, very, very talented player that had the maturity of an 8-year-old. And you needed to address the offensive line. And Darnell has turned into a very good player now. It worked out fine for the Bears. They even got an extra pick out of it because they traded with the Eagles so the Eagles could move up ahead of them to take Jaylon. But yeah, I expected at some point the Eagles would start stopping the run, and then the Bears would need to. It just didn't happen. They just couldn't stop them. So, what do you know? I get extra time to enjoy this one. Typically we have a 24-hour rule around here where you can only enjoy the win for 24. Oh yeah, that's the players. We get to enjoy as long as we want. So screw that. But we do get extra time. And I got to tell you, this weekend is just odd because there's one Thursday night game. And then you've got the Sunday night game and the Monday night game, and then whoever's on the bye. So Saturday sometimes can be a little thin. Well, this one, there are teams out on bye still. 3 Thursday night games and a Friday night game. We're already down 4 games, more like 6. We haven't even got to Sunday yet. I think Red Zone is just going to be like a blank screen with both games are on your regular TV. Go watch them. But that's okay. If you live anywhere near me, you're going to get a shitload of snow on Saturday. So you're basically probably going to be stuck in your house anyway. I didn't know it was coming until like Tuesday. And so if I had a frantic Tuesday night, putting all the Christmas lights up on the outside of the house, because it was still 50 degrees and it was going to be shitty. And I knew I was going to have to get it done by today, or that wasn't going to happen until the snow thawed in March. I also had to make sure the snowblower would start. So I'm out there dicking around with that. But I'm ready. Do your worst. Snowblower works. I started it on Wednesday and I started again today just to make sure. So let's go. But now the real test, I guess. The Packers. Is it really? Like my brother-in-law was a big Bear fan, was convinced that the Bears beat him both times last year. He's like, we beat the Packers both times last year. No, the Bears didn't. Remember the first one, the field goal got blocked at the end? Caleb, great drive to get him into field goal range, and Cairo's kick got blocked. And the next week, Caleb got him into field goal range again, and the same exact spot of the line screwed up, and the kick got blocked again. He's like, I guess I remember that now. But Caleb's never lost a game at Lambeau, so going back, no problem. I guess it's time. I would really like to I think the Bears and Packers. I have the same feeling about the Cubs and the Cardinals. You have to play the Cardinals 13 times. Can we just play them the first 13 games of the season and then get it over with and then have the rest of the season? Same with the Packers. Just play them week 1 and 2 and then get on with the rest of the year. Even if you beat them, it's just Bear fans are so in their head about the Packers now. Like when I was a kid, it was the opposite. The Bears never lost the Packers. I grew up like the Packers are fucking terrible. Lynn Dickey and Randy Wright, and I was like, why does this shitty little town have a football team? And now, a generation after me, they're like, the Bears never beat them. So we might as well start beating them. Not going to go through. In my mind, the Bears had to get to 11 wins to make the playoffs. To be sure, because 10, you might be tied with somebody. Like maybe you might be tied with the Lions at the end, and then if you lost that last game on the on Sunday night to the Lions, and because if that would be a de facto play-in playoff game, so that would obviously be the last game of the season. You might miss the playoffs at 10-7, but honestly, you certainly should finish 11-6 now. You should be in the playoffs. That's a pretty monumental achievement, given the state of this team when Ben Johnson came in and took it over. And I know they were better than their record last year. They could have been worse. I mean, 5-12, but they lost games in some ridiculous ways. But even an optimist, that was, at the very best, that was like an 8-9 team. There was nothing extraordinary about that team. And they're better now. They have more talent. They accumulated more talent for this year. But, I mean, this jump up it's just a testament to a well-coached team wins more of those close games than a poorly coached team loses them. And that's what we're seeing. The Flus was not good at any of this shit. And he's back now. He's back in his happy place. He's a defensive coordinator. And I give him a lot of credit. That Cowboy defense was terrible at the beginning of the year. And he's helped them round that into something that works. So everybody's where they should be, including Caleb, who, much to the chagrin of some of the people at my Thanksgiving dinner, he was the right guy. That's the guy they should have picked. And they picked him. And he's much better than he was a year ago. And he's going to get better. This is the worst this offense is going to be for the next several years, is the one right now. And this offense was already good enough to take the Philadelphia Eagles and kick them straight in the ass for 3 hours in Philadelphia. So that was fun. I mean, who knows where this season will end? But if you are still on the fence about, and I don't know, maybe it's I was going to bring up real quick. I've gone on way longer than I expected to here. But one podcast that I can't listen to in season, it turns out, is Robert Mays' podcast on The Athletic because, and I don't know, maybe he's changed his tune, but he's so like, part of his like shtick is tortured Bear fan. And even early in the year when the Bears this thing started to work, like when they hired Ben Johnson, he was appropriately excited, but then was immediately like, I don't know if it's a bit or it's just his own like way of, there are a lot of Chicago sports fans, there are a lot of sports fans in general who are like this, who, I don't want to get my hopes up too much because then I'll get hurt or whatever. Or is always like trying to beat other people, basically telling them, hey, that guy sucks to the punch. And I just got so I couldn't. I'm like, okay, you are a smart football guy. That's why people listen to this pod, but you're not doing smart football shit about the Bears. And you're either doing it on purpose because, I don't know, or you just can't help yourself because your head's so far up your own ass about this team. And I know some of you are probably listening to this going, but you were basically like, they're not that, yeah, it's great that they win and it's super fun that they win, but, what's the ceiling on this team? And, I don't know now. It's the NFL. Weird shit happens. And they don't have a huge weakness anymore. And they should on defense. They should have a huge weakness on defense because their best players in certain positions aren't playing. But especially the last 2 weeks against the Steelers and the Eagles when the schedule started to toughen up. And I know they got Mason Rudolph 2 weeks ago. But there's no excuse. The Eagles didn't have an excuse today. They had everybody. And the Bears defense was like, no, we're fine. We'll handle it. So, I don't know. My advice, which I don't have to tell you guys because you're listening to this and you already like it, but you tell your friends. Just sit back and enjoy this because we waited forever for the Bears to finally do this right, to actually rebuild. And they didn't do the rebuild right. They didn't do the rebuild in the right order, I should say. Like they did the things right, like they tanked and they had the patsy head coach who was going to be there for the tank. And then when they were ready to win, they were going to fire him. They're going to hire a guy, but they waited a year longer than they needed to do that, but they still ended up with the right guy. And now he's here and you still ended up with the right quarterback and they've built a really good offensive line and they've built really good skill position guys around him. And when their defense is healthy, it's really good. But it's not healthy right now. But they still find a way because these guys are clearly coached. Dennis Allen doesn't have a full complement of guys, but when he puts guys in, they at least know where to go. And that's kind of a big part of it, is to not get fooled and end up in the wrong spot. And so it works. And I'm not going to sit here and go, well, maybe they'll get beat up by the Packers. I'm not worried about the Packers. I would think the Bears should win one of the two games, and it wouldn't shock me if they won them both. So let's stop apologizing for this stuff, or stop lowering our expectations because they always do whatever. Yeah, everybody always does something until they stop doing it. We learned that with the Cubs, right? They always blow those games until they stop blowing those games, and they won a World Series, and that was fun. And they don't seem to want to win another one. So there's one team with true ambition in that town, and it's the Bears, amazingly. So let's enjoy it because this is why you root for teams like this. For days like today, when you go into it kind of thinking, I think we can be competitive with this team, but I don't know. And then 2 minutes into the game, you're like, holy shit, this is going to happen. And it did. So enjoy your extra long weekend and enjoy this game even longer than you normally would. And then spend next week trying to remind any Packer fan that you know that they don't own any of the fucking team. Even if I'm an owner because I have a certificate. No, you spend a shitload of money on a worthless piece of paper. If you're an owner, take the frame down, take it down to the Packer offices and tell them that you want to vote in a board meeting. And you want to have a discussion about whether you should fire Matt LaFleur or not and see how far you get. That's how much of the team you own. You don't own shit. And you're in second place. So suck on that.
Many of us have herpes. post-game show is brought to you by Christ, I can't find it. The hell with it.
It's fitting. It's got to be done with one of the best games of all time. Just unbelievable. I mean, got to congratulate the Dolan family.
Thank you.
Sean, my podcast co-host Andy, you were his favorite player growing up.
Oh, thank you so much, awesome.